Welcome back to Military Power TV. Today we dive into the incredible story of one of the most legendary aircraft ever built, the Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird, a spy plane so advanced, so fast, and so untouchable that it became a true icon of Cold War aviation. In the early 1960s, the U.S. Air Force was searching for a replacement for the U-2 spy plane. While the U-2 could fly extremely high, at over 21,000 meters, it was relatively slow, making it vulnerable to surface-to-air missiles. The solution? Build a reconnaissance aircraft that could combine extreme altitude with unprecedented speed, fast enough to outrun any missile. The result was the SR-71 Blackbird, a revolutionary aircraft designed by Lockheed's Skunk Works team. The Blackbird wasn't just fast, it was the fastest jet ever built. It could cruise at speeds above Mach 3, over 3,200 kilometers per hour for extended periods, and in emergencies, it could exceed 3,500 kilometers per hour. For comparison, the Soviet MiG-25 Foxbat, the second fastest jet, could only sustain similar speeds briefly before its engines risked severe damage. The SR-71 was designed to maintain them for hours. The Blackbird wasn't stealth like today's F-22 or F-35, but it was designed to have a low radar signature for its time. Combined with its maximum altitude of nearly 26,000 meters, it was nearly impossible to intercept. Between 1966 and 1998, over 4,000 missiles were fired at SR-71s, but not a single one ever hit its target. If enemy radars locked on, the Blackbird simply accelerated, leaving missiles far behind. The aircraft carried no weapons. Its defense was speed and altitude. Its crew consisted of two, a pilot and a reconnaissance systems officer. Building it was a monumental challenge. Over 85% of its structure was made of titanium, a material light and strong enough to handle the stress of supersonic flight. Ironically, most of the world's titanium supply at the time came from the Soviet Union. The CIA secretly created front companies to buy tons of it directly from America's main rival. Flying at such extreme speeds generated enormous heat. Some sections of the SR-71 skin reached over 300 degrees Celsius, requiring a special quartz-based coating and its iconic black paint, which helped dissipate heat, earning it the nickname Blackbird. Another challenge was fuel. At low speeds, the tanks leaked constantly because they were designed to seal only when the aircraft expanded from heat during supersonic flight. As a result, the SR-71 always took off with minimum fuel and was refueled mid-air for every mission. Its two massive Pratt & Whitney J58 turbojet engines produced 32,000 pounds of thrust each and were most efficient at Mach 3, its ideal cruising speed. Before GPS, engineers developed a unique celestial navigation system which tracked stars even during daylight to keep the aircraft precisely on course. The Blackbird carried some of the most advanced reconnaissance equipment of its era: high-resolution optical cameras, infrared sensors, electronic intelligence receivers, and defensive countermeasures. Its cameras were so powerful they could photograph license plates on cars from 24,000 meters in the air. The crew wore fully pressurized suits similar to spacesuits, essential for survival at such extreme altitudes and speeds. The SR-71 shattered numerous records. In 1986, one escaped a Libyan missile by accelerating past Mach 3.5. It holds the record for the fastest New York to London flight, just 1 hour and 54 minutes. Another flight covered over 24,000 kilometers in only 10 hours. Out of 32 aircraft built, 12 were lost to accidents, but none ever to enemy action. The Blackbird flew over 3,500 missions and logged more than 11,000 hours above Mach 3, But by the late 1990s, advances in surface-to-air missiles, drones, and spy satellites made it increasingly obsolete. The U.S. Air Force retired it in 1998, and NASA used a few aircraft briefly for research until 1999. Even today, the SR-71 remains unmatched in speed and altitude. It will always be remembered not just for its world records, but for the enormous technological leaps it inspired in aerospace engineering. The SR-71 Blackbird wasn't just a plane, it was a symbol of ingenuity, power, and the race for technological superiority during the Cold War. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of aviation's greatest legends, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Military Power TV, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next episode on military history and technology. Thanks for watching.
Smith and Bob Mach, and the entire National Aeronautics Space Administration team, including their FAC station, being blown away by superiority. And with one of our airborne photographers in the back, Mr. Mach. Now, the SR-71 with its space airplane out there was Thanks a lot. Well, you're early and get something to drink. Stop by any of the various vendor booths throughout the Flyline area. These booths are operated by